to Community Talks. I'm your host, Josh Benson's. Today we are with Josh Roberts. Hello,
Hello
Josh.
there.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, Josh, let's get to know you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Joshua Roberts. I am 25 years old and I live here in St. John's. I was born and raised here in the east end of St. John's, and I've had quite a life of travel. I've grown a lot very quickly at a young age, where I've developed a great passion to help people, which leads me into why I'm here with you today, which is a part of my disability as I live with, my business, my venture in life overall. So, a part of who I am really is an advocate for people with disabilities, as I have one myself. I love music, I love creating, and I love giving and sharing.
Well, right out the bat, Josh, you sound like a pretty awesome guy.
Thank you.
Now you mentioned a disability. Would you be comfortable with expanding on that a bit?
So I have two, I guess, multiple forms of disability that I experience in different ways. So the first being physical disability. A couple of years ago, I was struck by a vehicle when I was walking, and I had broken some body parts and
Oh,
became physically different. From what I lived for about 20 years or so, one day changed my whole life. So I deal with chronic pain issues and physical mobility issues on a daily basis that limit my life quite significantly. My ability to work, my ability to grocery shop, even my ability to get up in the morning and feel comfortable. However, I found lots of different ways to cope that bring happiness. The second is that I experience post traumatic stress disorder, which is a mental health illness. For me, I see it as a tool or a technique that can be applied in a positive way if coached well and nurtured. But it's certainly a scary thing to wake up with as well. So I'm right off the bat having these challenges of as soon as I wake up, I have to deal with a few things before I really start my day. Yeah.
now I reached out to you because you wanted to post an event on our Accessible NL page, and it was for correct me if I'm wrong, for hip hop. Was it your show you were doing?
Yeah. So as I've come along with my venture and trying to find comfort within my disability, I found I love creating and publishing music and hosting events. So what I did was I found Accessible NL on Facebook to be very supportive and quite understanding in certain ways. So I tried my luck to post up the event of my hip hop shows. So I host and organize hip hop shows for local artists in our city that allows them the opportunity to sing, to speak, just to get on stage and present their music. So yeah, that's what I had posted up.
Well, that sounds fantastic. It's a real shame that the building you were in it didn't look to be very accessible. Um, I imagine. Well, I don't know about you, but I have trouble finding places, venues that are accessible. I don't know if you know, but I'm a stand-up comedian.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, cool.
so I've been doing that for about a year now, and it's just really hard to get into places. It's not acceptable. I need to bring my own little rep to get into the place where I need to go, right? So it's finding
Yeah,
an accessible venue is not an easy task.
that is very true. And I find for myself as well that I have days where I don't like walking stairs. Now, I'm very privileged to be able to walk stairs and very privileged to have this ability that, and in my worst day possible, that I could have someone maybe help me up over the stairs. So I very much admire yourself and your position. And I see the need greatly that both of the venues that I usually host at have stairs, to and from. There is no way to get into these buildings without traveling on stairs. So the significant inconvenience of bringing, a mechanical device to help you climb these stairs just to enjoy an event really it puts a lot on going downtown to enjoy yourself.
And now, where are the venues that you usually go to?
So my main venue that I've had that's been the most supporting has been Levels on George Street. They have really embraced the hip hop community and have been welcoming with open arms. Very, very much accommodating of the financial aspect as well, that it costs a lot to run events. So Nicole at Levels has been extremely accommodating with helping me run these events. And I've just recently opened up to Velvet on Water Street, I think it is. So yeah, like I said, very hard to get to.
Yeah, there's no way I'm getting to Velvet.
Yeah,
it's in the middle of is it the one I'm thinking of, the one in the middle of a big old flight of stairs, right?
Yeah, and then at the same time, the bottom of the stairs has a lot of construction and like red tape, and it's certainly a difficult area.
I wanted to go back to your business. How long have you been doing it?
Yeah, I've been writing and recording for about 12 to 13 years. However, the hip hop business itself has only been since last year. So my experience with this was essentially I seen the current energy in the hip hop scene as one that was very competitive, very negatively charged. And there was a lot of animosity and what we consider in the community as beef. Now, of course, this is where I bring humor into the situation, as I'm a vegan, so there's no beef allowed in my community. So I came forward with the Hippie Junior positivity attitude, which is my hip hop name is Hippie Junior. So I came forward in June of this year, officially releasing the Hip Hop Shop NL. But last year, I created the ventures of an organization titled $1 Million Entertainment, which was myself and a friend who started to host events. So we've been here for about 2 years approximately. Now, I ventured off on my own this year, so I am solo within the means of running this business. I've decided that basically for some professional reasons and just trying to really understand for myself what it is that needs to happen here. So officially, as of June of 2020, we're here and fully ready.
Good to hear. I really like that name. That's a nice name. Can you say it again? What was the name?
Yeah, Hip Hop Shop NL.
Hip Hop Shop NL. And your DJ name was?
So my artist name is Hippie Junior.
Hippie Junior. I really like that. That's cool name, Hippie Junior. Where did he come up with that?
That's a really good question. I'm really happy you asked me because it carries a lot of meaning. So in my life, I've experienced some difficulty within the raising of myself, and I grew up to be someone who I never thought I would become. My whole life, my father was a junior. So his dad was the same name as him. So my whole family called my dad Junior. I thought this was pretty cool growing up, and I figured this was really nice, but I never had a good way to relate to my dad or connect with him at all. Never had a positive interaction very well. So as I grew up into an adult, I gained this volunteer position with a great man named Andrew, and he started calling me Junior, which is where I built that connection between my dad and finally had a way to relate to my father. So I felt like my whole family calls my dad Junior. This guy who I know calls me Junior. And I'm a lot like my dad in a lot of ways. So I wanted to put a hippie spin on it because I'm vegan. I'm really different. So I'm Hippie Junior. I'm my dad's son, and I'm going to try to make a better life.
Hippie Junior. Every time I hear it, I love it. Great name.
Thank you.
Great name. So when you started up your business, do you run into any personal accessibility problems?
Definitely. So the first thing is that my current situation with disability doesn't allow me to work 40 plus hours a week, which is the normal, and given my age and my circumstances, there's no government benefits or supports that are put in place for someone in my position. I don't qualify for CPP. You know, I'm considerably just a low income type of person. So, of course, the financial aspect of not being able to just get a job at Tim Hortons to fund my dream, or, you know, to be able to work full time and be able to entertain my dream job at the same time. So financial is, of course, the number one barrier with creating a business as a person with disabilities. But my comprehension was a really big thing, and my physical ability was a huge thing. So with business, it requires me to travel in the city a lot to go to, say, right now I have to go to 4 different locations of Sobeys to pick up sponsorship. Um, I have to travel via Metrobus or via Go Bus, and that, as you might be aware, this is going to take me a long time. You know, this is 2 or 3 days when, you know, the average person might just be able to jump in their car and drive there today and 25 minutes get it all done. So I face a bit of a different circumstance when it comes to executing my business goals, and it takes me a lot longer to really reciprocate it back. The mental part I wanted to speak on is the cognitive, where I don't necessarily see all that has to be done due to some stress, some mental health issues, and or things that I cope with daily. So, for an example, I really want to apply to MUN to better my business and to better myself, but I become so overwhelmed with the process of applying. There's so much to do, and I'm just, you know, I'm trying to raise my children. I'm trying to deal with disability. I'm trying, you know, so the list is huge of what I'm already coping with. To better yourself, you really have to push as hard as you possibly can.
You said you had kids. How many do you have?
Yeah, I have 2 children, Emily and Silas. They're my favorite people.
Lovely names. How old are they?
My boy is 4 and my girl is 5.
So those barriers you spoke of when it came to running your business, I'm assuming you're still facing some of those barriers. Are they getting any easier as you go by, or are they about the same?
I would say they're honestly the same. What gets easier is my ability to adapt and my confidence in the situation. So I've learned that it's okay to be disabled and or not as able as others. And I've learned that it's okay to take your time and to take longer than other people to get things done. So in the sense of if it's become any easier or if it's changed, it certainly has, but what's in front of me is still the exact same. If I don't reapproach it differently, then nothing changes.
Now, can you think of any combinations that you could possibly add that could help you with these barriers?
I certainly do. I think that some more readily available and more known guidance supports. So for myself, I feel like some of these applications are very difficult. I'm the type of person that, you know, during COVID, I understand circumstance, but I'm the type of person that wants to talk to somebody about how, like, what I'm doing. So if I have to apply for grants or if I need to apply for startup funding, I don't want to go into it blind. You know, I like to talk to people about it. I'd like to be able to ask questions. It seems like it's difficult to really know who to talk to, who to ask. And then at the same time, a lot of this requires money, you know, to talk to people and to get business advice and things like that. So one of the biggest things is the comprehension. Again, like I said, there's metro business opportunity and there are some government opportunities, but one has to know how to write a business plan and how to apply in order to be eligible. So from my position, I'm not exactly educated, but I have enough passion and determination to keep everything going.
Now, I'm assuming those changes are. You kind of already answered this question, but I'm gonna answer. I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Okay.
So I'm getting the changes you speak of. They're better sooner rather than later. For you, just how important would it be to have it sooner rather than later?
to have proper supports, to have communication, to have some change sooner than later would at least restore the faith and our hope in what we do. I know I can speak on behalf of a lot of people in my community, whether they face disability or not. We're coming into a time where we see disability as not just our physical bodies, and it has a lot to do with our minds as well. So I see that in our community, as long as there is some effort of support and guidance, it keeps faith and the hope present. So as long as we as artists, we as the citizens feel like we can wake up and know somebody's working on it somewhere, I think that's really the start.
Is there any other topic that you would like to discuss, or anything you have going on that you would like to let people know about?
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for this opportunity and this platform to bring this forward. I've been working really long on the idea of bettering ourselves and becoming well and stable. And I'd like to speak on, at a certain point, I felt like I was a victim. I felt after my accident, I claimed everything as it's my accident and my disability and my injury. I took all this responsibility, but I didn't have confidence or the belief in myself or love for myself. So what I want to share with you and with anyone who watches this is, if you're still in a position where you feel as if you're stuck or you're limited or you can't try, the first thing that I ever did was say it out loud. I said when I felt like I wasn't comfortable and things weren't right. And nothing really changed at that moment, but how I felt about it changed. And I embraced the situation better. Another thing that I really started to do to change my life to become more of a survivor rather than a victim is that I started dressing for the job I really wanted. So, of course, for me, your appearance is not necessarily the end all or say all of who we really are. But I found that I started to wear clothes that made me feel comfortable. And that was, for me specifically, I can't wear dress pants with a belt, which is a big part of my job to look professional. So, of course, it's to find the drawstring pants that are comfortable on my hips for my waist, but also look professional. So just small accommodations where I don't have to give up the dress pants. I don't have to give up that energy and that sense of presence. Just taking the time, having patience, and figuring it out one thing at a time. So this is what brought me forward. And like I said, I came from a place where I didn't like life. I thought it was so unfair what it did to me, why I was like this. But I realized what a beautiful opportunity. And this is an amazing experience.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. And I gotta say, man, you seem like a really cool individual. When all this COVID stuff is over, maybe we can go get a beer or something.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate that. And if you don't mind, I'd love to ask you a quick question before we finish up.
Sure.
Awesome. So from you to me, what helps you day to day, feel happy and find peace?
Oh, wow. That's a rough question right off the bat. Personally, I don't really know. I've always been an upbeat kind of guy. I guess, okay, well, I'll give you a little bit of background of me. I'm in an electric wheelchair due to a brainstem injury. When I was 10 months old, I was in a car accident and it damaged my brainstem. So my accident, I can't even remember it. I'm sure you can remember yours, but I was only 10 months old. And so I guess I've always been in a wheelchair, and it's the only life I've ever known, and I've always been one to be positive and always looking at the bright side of life. I don't really know what my secret is, to be honest. I get that's kind of the person I am, but I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. I love talking to people, and I'm always looking at the bright side of life. I understand things can be rough for people, and I understand that personally I am very fortunate where I am, and I'm just grateful for it every day when I get up. I hope
No.
that answered your question.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
I find that I like to ask questions as well, especially with someone with your experience and in your position. I feel like you have a lot to teach someone like myself, especially where I love helping people. And I haven't met many people that are in a wheelchair and have spent their lives in a wheelchair. So I'd like to learn about you. I'd like to learn how to accommodate someone like yourself in the near future.
Yeah, well, definitely something we can definitely collaborate with.
And any help I can commit to within the community that you work in as well, I would love to. I really want to comment that I think it's excellent that not only did you approach these businesses, but you offered them a solution. Like you said, it's very difficult to just assume or to be able to guess what a person with disabilities needs to become, assessed or be able to assess them or help them. So in the situation where you reach out and you provide them the solution, that really it leaves no room, for error, which is really good.
When all this coronavirus stuff is over, we should definitely get together.
Nice, absolutely. I look forward to that. And thank you for your time today. I hope you're safe. I hope your family's safe. And again, thanks.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like it, please hit that like button. Maybe consider subscribing and stay up to date by hitting that bell icon. If you want to see more of Access by Now, you can visit us on Instagram, Facebook, or even Twitter. All of the links for that are in the description below. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next video.